There were just a total of 39 cases that were reportable and serious in nature countrywide that led to the death of, that led to the loss of 24 lives. And as a result, 25 suspects were also arrested. And it's against this background that the leadership of the joint security agencies also came out once again to applaud again all security personnel who secured effectively the holy month of Ramadan and the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. At least millions of Muslims gathered in mosques and Islamic centers across the country and celebrated the end of the holy month of Ramadan and the Eid celebrations. These 39 incidents, majorly, we registered 4 cases of murder by shooting and 4 cases of murder in general, 4 cases of murder by mob justice, 3 cases of aggravated robbery. There was 1 incident of rape, 1 case of death by electrocution. You shall be able to get this summary. The only unfortunate incident happened in Bundibujo where 2 Muslims were electrocuted to death. One of them was identified as Rashid Hili, a 22-year-old resident of Kanyansibi village, Bundibujo Trading Center. They had gone to transfer at one of the tents from Centenary Bank offices in Bundibujo to the prayer place. So as they raised the tent, one of the tips touched the high voltage electric line, and that is when the 2 got electrocuted, and it's unfortunate that they died. The other 2 got mild shocks. They were given first aid, and they went to join the other Muslims for service, for prayers. So I want to thank all our territorial commanders and security personnel for their tireless efforts, and also thank all the Muslim leaders, the local leaders, the community for their level of cooperation, support, and alertness. We have 12 suspects who were arrested for holding separate unlawful assemblies in Lira and Buvuma. As you're all aware, there are still existing laws under the Penal Code and Section 5 of the Public Order Management Act that helps in regulating some of these unlawful assemblies, riots, and other offenses against public tranquility. For instance, Section 5 clearly stipulates that every organizer of a public meeting should notify police at least 3 days in advance about their plans to hold that public meeting, and then also ensure that the other requirements, the traffic assembly flow plan, the number of stewards is proportionate to the number of invitees, and even further coordination of their activities with the police to ensure that there is peace and order during the conduct of that public meeting, taken consideration of. So in Otuke District, the District Security Committee, of course, blocked an emergency meeting because it was, first of all, poorly planned, and there are certain requirements, like I've indicated, that were not met for the meeting to take place at Achan P Primary School in Olilim sub-county. And of course, our intelligence on the ground had picked information that after the chairpersons and the other local leaders, 3 up to up to LC1 and other members of the district. After the meeting, they were planning to hold at least a demonstration showing their grievances over the conflict, the land conflict surrounding the boundary between Otuke district and Agago, and even concerns over the continued cattle raids by the Karamojong in Otuke and the neighboring district of Alepton. So the District Security Committee in Otuke advised the chairperson, LC5 Honorable, the chief organizer, that is Honorable Odongo Dike, the chairperson, LC5 Alepton, and even told him to at least halt the public meeting, because on the 27th, the Minister for Defense is expected in Lira, in Lango region, and would be able to address some of these matters of security concern. And however, they defied this guidance that was given by the District Security Committee. So 8 of them were arrested, including Ogwalamek, a district speaker, Opio Sam Alusi, Opio Mara Jasper, a district councillor, and 5 others. So they were later on released on bond, and the file was sent to the resident state attorney. The second incident of unlawful assembly was registered in Buvuma after the organizers defied the guidelines also from the District Security Committee, which had resolved that the Women's Day celebrations that were slated for the 19th of April be postponed because there were disagreements between 2 parallel teams. One team involving the chairperson Buvuma Women Council, that is Nachobe Betty, and then the other team was the woman MP Buvuma district, that is Honorable Nakaziba Susan, so that they would first of all harmonize arrangements, preparations on the venue, the invitees, and who the guest of honor would be. So it was against that background that this Women's Day celebration was halted. But surprisingly, the Honorable Nakaziba Susan defied the guidance that she was given and tried to hold celebrations at Chanja in Wema sub-county, where she was blocked for failure to comply with the guidelines, first of all from the Ministry of Gender, from the District Women's Council, the CAO, and the RDC. As a result, 4 suspects, that is, who included Onyango Gad Daniel, Kalumba Roger, Matovu Stephen, and Sentamu Henry, were also arrested, and their case file was submitted to the Office of the State Attorney for further guidance. But again, during the enforcement of that unlawful assembly, there are disturbing images that went viral that were indicating that captured some of our officers using excessive force during the arrest of some of the suspects in Buvuma. And so the Inspector General of Police came out and instructed the Professional Standards Unit to open an investigation into the alleged beating and torture, first of all, of the Honorable Woman MP Buvuma, that is Honorable Nakaziba Susan, and some of her supporters. As a result, we've summoned the 11 officers who have first of all been removed from their duties and asked to report to the Professional Standards Unit headquarters for further investigations. This includes the acting RPC, Superintendent of Police Kanyesige Jamal, the DPC Buvuma, SP Bagole Michael, and the other commanders that were below them, Assistant Inspector of Police Odeke Francis, Corporal Wamanga David, Police Constable Balim. The list of 11 is here. Now, you remember when there was, when we had concerns, of course, where some of the journalists were pepper sprayed, and which matter is also under investigations by the Professional Standards Unit. Police leadership summoned all our territorial commanders from the 28 policing regions, and we shared guiding principles on enforcement operations, the observance of human rights, which are very important elements in our democratic society. And he also gave them guidelines and warned them against some of the individuals and political groups that rely heavily on defiance, even when the requirements of the Public Order Management Act are not fulfilled. So he really told them to, first of all, to remain steadfast and very humane in their approach. But it is really unfortunate that immediately after these guidelines that were given, our officers were again captured on video aggressively manhandling some of the protesters, which we strongly condemn. Therefore, those officers who will have found to have broken the law will be held accountable in accordance with the criminal and disciplinary processes. Now, regarding the investigations into the Iron Sheets saga, we simply want to inform the public that the task team actively investigating the alleged theft and diversion of iron sheets meant for Karamoja reformed warriors has almost finalized its scope of investigations. Several case files were submitted with findings to the office of the DPP. I think we only have about 2 or 3 witnesses who have to record statements, and also for us to fast-track a few leads which are significant in the remaining inquiries. Now, as witnessed last week, some of the case files are 100% complete, like the one of the Honorable Agnes Nandutu, and which is even ready for full trial. We are now waiting for the DPP to evaluate the evidence on the remaining case files and come up with appropriate conclusions that will guide our next course of action. Then we also have 2 suspects who were arrested for vandalism of utility infrastructure, that is electricity, where the territorial police in Kampala Metropolitan East and Nagalama Division arrested Ntare Peter, a 23-year-old electrician of Kabembe Village, Champisi sub-county, and Mulwanyi Rogers, also an electrician of Kasai, after getting intelligence that they had vandalized and were also in possession of electrical gadgets that belonged to the government of Uganda. That was on the 23rd of April 2023. So when we searched the unknown premises at Chewanise village, we recovered ABC cables, umeme climbing belts and shoes, and an assortment of other exhibits. Then at Kasai village, we recovered yakameters, 3 string claps, tension claps, and an assortment of other exhibits. So the suspects are supposed to be charged with terrorism under Section 72A and G for these acts of sabotage and vandalism of utility infrastructure. Then our territorial teams in Kasese also carried out a raid where they arrested 3 suspected ADF rebels who had stealthily crossed into the country. So the police and UPDF teams in Kasese carried out this intelligence-led operation in Iruhe Choga village, Bwera sub-county in Kasese, where they arrested Majid Masereka Lewis, aged 31, Asman Musa is aged 17, and Abdu Akim, 23. We managed also to recover 3 guns and 70 live ammunitions, and thereafter transferred them to the Mountain Brigade in Kavera for more investigation. So because of the firepower and the hot pursuit by the UPDF in the DRC, the pressure has piled up on the ADF, and some of them are trying really to filter and sneak back into the country. So these arrests and recoveries are a strong reminder that the joint security agencies will never stop pursuing those who plan and execute acts of terrorism in Uganda. And then there was also an incident where there was a viral video of a parish chief in Kanungu who was captured while beating and assaulting a 40-year-old female adult. So we managed to arrest the parish chief after the video went viral of torture. So our territorial police in Kigezi region and Kanungu district on the 19th of last week arrested Ewan Tumukunde Joab, a 36 parish chief of Kihembe sub-county, for the alleged torture of Nyanjura Moli, aged 40, and a peasant farmer of Kanyashande village. Now, the unfortunate or the painful part of it is that the parish chief was assaulting or beating this 40-year-old old mother for atrocities that were committed by her son, called Sunday Apple. Instead of him and other local leaders pursuing or tracing for one Sunday Apple who had stolen a bunch of matoke from Himbisiwe Jackson, they instead used a kangaroo court and blamed the mother for the criminal acts of the son, which is very, very wrong. These are acts of impunity and unlawlessness that we can't accept. So right now his file was submitted to the office of the state attorney, but because of that long weekend he was given a bond. And of course, as the police, we strongly come out to condemn these for all forms of torture, and especially the use of corporal punishment and other physical acts of torture. We find that these are harsh and punishable by law. So we are going to pursue this matter and ensure that this parish chief of Kihembe sub-county is charged to court. Now, we want to inform, as I was coming in, there was one of you who was asking about the case file, the petition by Police Constable Batu Kajuma. Now, these concerns were brought to the attention of police management, and we acknowledged the complaint that our police constable Batuka wrote and shared on social media. Of course, we don't encourage officers going in social media and so on, because we have a very robust administrative structure that can handle any administrative matter or complaint. Now, what the public may not know is that it's true this officer served in Somalia under the AMISOM, and he was, however, charged for assaulting a superior police officer from Sierra Leone during his tour of duty in Somalia, and there was a disciplinary matter that was handled there. And then in addition to that, there were also complaints that, first of all, he was consuming drugs and also selling narcotic drugs while in Somalia. So all these complaints were brought to the attention of the leadership of AMISOM, and they wrote to the Uganda Police Force about the conduct of this officer of ours called Police Constable Batuka. Of course, the UPF, as an institution, regretted the conduct of our officers, and it was recommended that he should be charged disciplinarily. Now, when the disciplinary court was constituted at Police Headquarters, this is an officer at the level of a police constable who even became so violent and started using abusive language before the disciplinary court. And so summons for him to reappear before the disciplinary court were not honored up to today. He has instead resorted to moving from office to office, demanding to be redeployed under traffic where he was working. There are even additional charges of misconduct, including threats of violence against another superior officer under the Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety. So you can see, because of his acts of gross misconduct and indiscipline, the disciplinary cases against him are actually piling up. Whenever we deploy officers to the peacekeeping mission, they represent the institution of the police, and they also represent the country. So while at the mission, their performance, including staff standards and professional behavior, are monitored by the Department of Peace Support Operations. So over the years, if you could have noticed, our police officers have been viewed with high esteem in South Sudan, in Sudan, Liberia, in Somalia, and all these other places where we have participated in peacekeeping activities. So the recipient nations hold Ugandan police officers in high esteem, and even the contributing member states. So during the tour of duty of our officer, Police Constable Baluka Juma, he allegedly physically assaulted a superior officer from Sierra Leone, and he was also, sanctions were also taken against him, first of all for consuming drugs while in Somalia, and also for supplying them. So it went on record, and the mission informed the office of the IGP, where it was recommended that he undergoes disciplinary action. Now, what we can also tell you is that when officers are deployed in these peacekeeping missions, they legally remain part of the Uganda Police. They are not, they have not detached themselves. And when their conducts fall below the standards expected by the mission and the police, it's important that sanctions are taken against them. And you're aware that the UPF is one institution where, first of all, there is no room for compliances when it comes to police officers who have abused their positions of power. And therefore, we recognize the damage that our officer, Police Constable Baluka, caused when he was in Somalia, and we advise him to make sure that he reports before the disciplinary committee so that the misconduct hearing against him takes place. We shall ensure that the best course of action is actually given to him. Failure to appear before this disciplinary court will simply further taint his record and attract more sanctions against him. The few traditional crimes in the Rwenzori region, the police there is investigating a son who murdered the father. This incident happened in Nyakabuga, Lower Cell, Ibanda Central, Kasese district, where a one Mohindo Anthony, 20-year-old peasant, was arrested for the murder of his father, called Tembo Purunali, alias Garang, aged 47. The family of three, that is the father, mother, and son, were in the kitchen waiting for dinner. And then an argument ensued after the father labeled the son as a drunkard, which angered him. So he grabbed the father, dragged him out of the kitchen. That is when he got a pestle or this pounding stick and smashed his head. The victim was rushed to Mount St. Mary's Hospital, where he died the following day. Then police in Kawempe also has a suspect for child stealing. We keep on sensitizing sensitizing new mothers about some of the threats that they face with their newly born children. So we registered another case of child stealing where a one Babita Jane, a 27-year-old resident of Kabaganda zone in Wakiso, was arrested after stealing a baby girl of 2 months from a lady called Susan of Maganjo. So we continue really. She's already being charged with child theft, but we also want to caution new mothers that they really need to be careful. There are a number of lone female abductors who continue to target very young infants to help probably cling to some of the fractured relationships where women have continued to pretend to be pregnant. Others suffer miscarriages, they don't inform their boyfriends. Others, after losing their child, they think they can replace the child by stealing, and so on and so forth. So our new mothers out there, you need to be wary of strangers who appear to be so nice and kind to you. Let's do Uganda and then we can get to wind up.